However, one differential association theory. Have you ever asked yourself why certain individuals become criminal? Differential association theory is a theory in crime. Differential association theory suggests that individuals who commit different acts and influence to do supermary group and intimate social contact. The degree of influence one receives from message favoring different behavior varies by intensity, priority, frequency, and duration. An overview and differential association theory of deviance provide beginning with a general review of the theory followed by a brief explanation of specific association of the differential association theory. A brief summary of key research development are provided. Critiques of differential association are highlighted throughout the report, and further development of the theory of review. Similarly, it does not suggest that any person who is around criminal necessarily become a criminal. Rather, differential association theory posits that those who have a greater ratio of portable definition of deviant behavior are more likely to develop this. If this to one likelihood and deviant is unlike some others. Theory of deviance and social control. Once intimate to commit crime will be by across to life course in life risks in particular stage and development of its differential association. Theory life room for criminals to change to their way to become conforming people.
Hello sir, good evening. Korea is Real John Mark and my topic is 9 assumption of the theory. 1. Criminal behavior is learned. This proposition states that criminal behavior is not inherited or innate. Individuals do not simply invent criminal behavior, they learn it from others. 2. Criminal behavior is learned through interaction with others. Sutherland emphasizes that criminal behavior is learned through communication and interaction with others, primarily through verbal communication, but also through gesture and nonverbal cues. 3. Principal part of learning criminal behavior occurs within intimate personal groups. Sutherland argues that learning criminal behavior primarily takes place within small, intimate groups such as families, peer groups, or close friends. He suggests that impersonal forms of communication, like mass media, play a less significant role in the learning process. 4. Learning criminal behavior includes techniques and motives. The learning process involves acquiring both the technical skills needed to commit a crime and the rationalization, attitudes, and motives they justify the behavior. 5. The direction of motives and drives is learned from definition of the legal codes. Individuals learn to view legal codes as either favorable or unfavorable, shaping their motives and drives towards criminal or non-criminal behavior. 6. A person becomes delinquent due to an excess of definition favorable to violation of law. This is central principle of differential association, individuals are more likely to engage in criminal behavior when they are exposed to more definitions that favor law breaking than definitions that favor law abiding behavior. 7. Differential association vary in frequency, duration, priority, and intensity. The impact of association with criminal or non-criminal patterns depends on factors like how often, how long, how early in life, and how influential the source of the association are. 8. The learning process of criminal behavior involves the same mechanisms as other learning. Criminal behavior is learned through the same mechanism as any other type of learning, such as imitation, conditioning, or reinforcement. 9. Criminal behavior is an expression of general needs and values, but not explained by them. While criminal behavior might satisfy general needs or values, their needs and values alone do not explain why some individuals choose criminal behavior over non-criminal alternatives.
Good day to everyone. I am April Jane P. Manzano, and for today I'll be discussing about containment theory. So, containment theory was introduced by Walter Reckless. So, Walter Reckless is an American criminologist and known na siya doon sa iyang theory, which is ang containment theory. So, containment theory, the word containment came from the root word contain. It means to hold someone or something within. So, kumaga more na siya o kanang mo siya gipungan mi tayo makakagalingon. Imo ang girlfriend mo kagalingon para nga makakommit o crime. So, containment theory assumes or claims that there are social factors or external factors and personal factors or internal factors that can affect a person's behavior, including na ang criminal behavior. So, there are external factors that can isolate someone from committing a crime. So, for example, unpleasant emotion. Example, there are someone na napainit sa imong ulo and then you want to do a crime asana na person tungod sa iyang gibuhat sa imo. So, kung nakay ka, like nakay mo siya bawsan something. Kay piko naka-but, tungod sa nakay control sa imo self, imuhang protektahan mo kaugalingon na makabuhat og crime. So, that is isolation. You were able to contain na dili ka makabuhat og crimes sa na person. So, that is containment theory. Also, Walter Reckless suggests that individuals are protected from engaging in criminal behavior by a combination of inner and outer containments. As I've said kaina, na inner containments refers to internal factors like self-control and a positive self-image. Na, which is ang katapang example earlier, which is ang naisa ka person na nagbuhat o butang na napikon ka and then soko na kay ka and ganahan na ni mo na mabaw sa na person. But, tungod ka na kay self-control sa imong inner, is imong na protektahan or imong i-prevent imong kaugalingon na makabuhat ka og crime. Siya, while ang outer containment nag-include siya og social influences like family, friends, and community support na nakamotivate nimo na dili ka magbuhat og mga such things na mutod sa mga kaugalingon na makomit ka og crime. Other examples of that is, imagine a young person na grow siya sa neighborhood or community wherein tag-as kay greeting sa crime. Diba? These individuals might have faced isang external pressures wherein na ma-engage siya sa criminal activities such as peers of influence na ma-influensyan siya sa mga kaedad. And then, perceived lack of opportunities. Maka-feel siya na wala na siya chance masenso in the future tungod sa external pressures. However, their strong inner containment fueled by a positive self-concept and a strong moral compass na it could prevent them from doing such things na for such criminal activities, and it could prevent them na to give up, diba, tungkol sa external pressures nila na feel. And also they might have a strong sense of self-worth and believe na they are capable of achieving success through legitimate means. And also they might also hold strong values against crime, and makita nila lang kaugalingon as a law-abiding citizen. So when we say law-abiding citizen, it means ika ng mga citizens na musunod bitaw mga batas. So muna siya law-abiding citizens. And this inner strength also, it could help them na makaresist sila temptation, and instead mag-focus na sila sa ilang pag-pursuing sa ilang goals through ethical means. There are 4 main elements of the inner containment theory. First is we have the self-concept. So a positive self-concept is nag-start na siya sa theory na a looking glass self theory ni Charles Hilton Kelly, which means na act as a protective factor against delinquency among adolescents. So in Bisaya pa is meron na siyang nagsilbing protection sa mga kabataan namin against sa law. Kay kung kinsa pa tong mga individuals na nakita nila lang kaugalingon as law-abiding citizens is sila pa mismo more likely sila ang mas lamang na dili makabuhat o mga criminal behavior. So ang mga parents or other authority figures such as kanang mga teachers is nagplay na sila og crucial roles in fostering a positive self-concepts among sa mga individuals. So the second element of inner containment is ang goal orientation. So ang goal orientation is a key component sa inner containment, wherein it involves having clear aspiration and a focus on achieving legitimate goals. So these goals must be perceived as attainable by the individual to provide motivation and direction na preventing them from turning towards criminal activities. So it means importante siya na tayo goal sa ato ang kaugalingon para kini na goal is a significance ato as an individual, because if wala tay goal sa ato ang kaugalingon, wala ta mag-set o goal sa ato ang kaugalingon, pwede na siya mag-lead na to sa complicated na future, or pwede ta ma-involve sa criminal activities. So para dili ta maabot sa point na ma-involve ta sa inana ng mga activities, kita na mga individuals dapat natay goal sa ato ang kaugalingon. So for example of goal orientation is student na mag-set o goal na maka-graduate sa high school and going to college para ma-secure niya ang stable na future, and also ma-prevent niya iyang kaugalingon na makabuhat o crime, no? Ma-involve siya sa criminal activities. So the third element of inner containment is a frustration tolerance, which is the result of low self-control. Low frustration tolerance originates from upsets, failures, and disappointment in life, and is characterized by the inability to exert self-control, to tolerate frustration, to recognize limits, and to relate to others. So self-control is a vital to coping with failures. No, so without self-control, kita as individuals, if wala tayo self-control, same sa katong ato ang ako ang example, gaina na if wala jud kay self-control, no? If wala kay self-control, agad na person is makakamit siya kag crime inato. Dili nimo maprotekta nimo kaugalingon, no, to prevent crime. So without self-control, it can lead us to a delinquency, no, as a means to cope with such stressors. So the final element of the inner containment is norm retention. No, it refers to acceptance of social norms, laws, and the willingness to comply with such laws. So Reckless in 1972 postulated that sometimes norms erosion occurs, meaning that an individual will develop criminogenic norms. Norms erosion has close ties with Sykes and Matsaj in 1957 techniques of neutralization. So, neutralization are justification for legal behavior that appear to be rational to the individual but differ greatly from normative behavior. Reckless work also focused on push-pull forces as explanation of deviant behavior, including internal pushes such as discontent or rebellion. Also, ang external pulls such as delinquent acquaintance. Reckless containment theory gave rise to later controlled theories, including those of Travis Hershey, that became dominant in criminology. So in 1963, Reckless received the Edwin H. Sutherland Award from the American Society of Criminology for his contributions to theory and research. So that's all for containment theory.
Reckless containment theory. Reckless realized that urban life contained many temptations to commit crime. He suggested that to commit crime, the individual must break through the combination of outer and inner contentment. So sa reckless containment theory is na siya upat ka factor. First is self-concept, goal orientation, frustration tolerance, and norm retentions. First is self-concept, where the individual has an image of himself as either the type of person to adhere to the law or to break it. Second is goal orientation, in refer to a person having a sense of direction in life, a purpose, an aspiration toward a goal which is realistic and achievable in a legitimate way. Third is frustration tolerance. Consider that there must be biophysical desire that urges us toward deviant behavior that are compounded by society frustrating or thwarting our success due to the different opportunity available to us. Lastly is norm retention. This is the adherence and acceptance of laws, codes, norms, customs, and so on.
The topic for today is what is social bond theory? A social bond theory is developed by Travis in 1969. It's a framework within criminology that explains why people conform to societal norms and avoid deviant behavior. The theory suggests that involved are less likely to commit crimes when they have the strong social bond with others and their community. These bonds promote conformity and act or deterrence to deviance. And if you spend much time watching the news or true crimes television programs, you probably stop to consider what drives criminals to do the things that they do. Perhaps you expanded that to consider why they are able to commit an act that you and many others consider incomprehensible. These questions are the foundation of a subfield of sociology known as criminology, and they can often be addressed using what is known as a social bond theory. So, a social bond theory is na siya ay 4 key elements of social bonds. Muna siya ang attachment, commitment, involvement, and belief. So first, attachment. Attachment is emotional ties to family, friends, teacher, or other who embody societal norms. The stronger these ties, the more an individual cares about the opinions and expectations of others, which discourage deviant behavior. So, mo to ang attachment. Then next is commitment. Commitment is investment in conventional goals and activity such as education, career, or personal relationship. A person with much to lose is less likely to jeopardize their achievements by engaging in crime. Involvement. Involvement participation in conventional activities, school, works, and sports keep individuals too busy to engage in deviant behavior. Then lastly is belief. Belief is acceptance of societal roles, law, and norms. People with the strong beliefs in the moral order of society are less likely to break the rules. So, ang social bond theory di ay mo siya ang criminological theory that explain why some people don't commit crime. So, naadjud ubang tao nga dili mubuhat og krimen. So mo na sila mga tarong pangatawo din na respeto sa isig ka tao. So the social bond theory is the theory posits that weak or broken bonds increase the likelihood of deviance or criminal activities as the individual feels less connected to societal expectation and more free to act outside of them. So that's all.
Hi everybody, I'm here in front of you tackle the social control theory and social bond theory. Social bond theory, Travis Hirschi's social bond theory, developed in 1969, focuses on the elements of social bonding, including attachment to families, commitment to social norms, employment, involvement in activities, and belief. And their importance. This theory, derived from the general theory of crime, focuses individuals per group under involvement in conventional or criminal activities. So, ang social bond theory dia is gihimo ni Travis Hirschi in 1969. Bale, nani siya ay upat ka element sa bond theory. Ang una is attachment. Attachment refers to individual levels of values, norms in society, particularly in attachment like school Hirschi 1969 argued that middle-class children often demoralize lower-class children, leading resentment and decrease in the standard of living generations to come. This attachment plays a significant role in internal society. Next is commitment. Next is commitment refers to an individual commitment to abide by legal behavior. Burton Cullen, Evans, Dunaway, and Ketenini and Gary 1995. The norms and values taught to us adolescents should be to obey how society works in normal terms. Norms, value which can significantly impact the future behavior. Early education on right or wrong influence the place society. So, ang kuhan day, kayong commitment is maka-impact siya sa kuhan mo kang nasa mo palipot gani ang mga bad influence like madaka o makadawat sa mga eskwela. Ang usayan ang barkada. For example, a strong bond between a mother, father, and child in a normal nuclear family can shape their adult life. So, kuan pod kining unsay man magpapa maupod ang anak mo makuha na sa ambali masundog na sa anak unsa ang mama or papa. Ang katulo is a person person's choice to get involved in conventional versus dry science are taught behavior. This choice is formed not far after basic rules of life are taught. If no right and wrong bases are formed or provided, the adolescent will make the decision that tends to make the most sense. This how ties into family involvement in the person's life. One last is Hershey's theory, based on the concept of social bonds, has been widely accepted sociologists for its ability to explain the relationship between the social bonds in all aspects of society. When a bond is weakened or broken, individual behavior may occur as Durkheim emphasized. Hershey's bond theory suggests that individuals who are less dependent on their social groups tend to focus on themselves and disregard rules of conduct based on their private interest. However, this theory has weaknesses as it does not distinguish the importance of each element of a social bond. Recent research suggests that high levels of involvement in criminal activities may be due to parental control, increased opportunities for crime in young adults. Hershey's 1969 argues that social attachment can be beneficial to the bond, peers, and parents, but this can also lead to antisocial behavior. Studies have shown that activity and young adults with drug abusive parents are more likely to bring abuser into their lives. Bond can change over time with weak bond leading and delinquency. Contemporary society, single family and same-sex households are becoming more prevalent, and there are conflicting views on the impact of certain households and in the individual's behavior. So, kung imo mama o papa is ng mga drug abusive, ng mga mga addict or mga criminals, bali masundog po na sa anak, makuha man nila kung sa binuhatan sila magpapa. The social bond theory, a concept in psychology, has several weaknesses, including its skewed definition and the fact that different cultures based on typically white family, which may not be accurate. Different cultures, family styles can result in different blueprints for different people, and too strong can lead to adverse effects. Another weaknesses in the relevant skew or base definition which can alter the result of the theory. A study of the homeless in America found that 20 of every 10,000 homeless individuals have substance abuse problem, with 15 of those being lifelong. Study by Stephanie Hartwell of the University of Massachusetts also found that between 20% and 50% homeless of individual in America substance abuse. So, conclusion is the social bond theory has limitation and understand the complex relation between family, culture, and substance abuse in America. Further research need to better understand and address the issues. The study found that approximately 20 million Americans abuse drugs and alcohol due to factors such as violent family structure, lack of employment opportunities, and poor social bonds with peers. Attachment to families are primary and shape the relationship to activity, social life, and social occasion. Homeless men often choose the wrong path due to a volatile family structure, leading to more on the streets and less participation in leisure activities. Manang kasagaran sa Amerika na yung mga adik yapon, dili tanang tao sa Amerika kang hortahan nagi adik. So narot ako guys, mara ako report. Thank you.
Good afternoon guys, good afternoon sir. Our topic for today is talk about life and course theory, discussing Mannheim's to contribute how the findings of childhood experience shaping adults' outcome influence the theory developed then highlights importance of Mannheim's research expanding the life course approach. In social science, the work of Thomas Nenike analyzed Polish persons' lives and mentioned as a key influence the text that shaped the modern criminological application of the theory, focusing on the factor that influence a criminal behavior at different life stages like childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and emphasize the role of the parental guidance of the childhood social bonds. Then, in adolescence and the family involvement, adulthood is reducing the criminal behavior. For example, ang pananaliksik ni Mannheim sa kung paano hinubog o gitagan yun yung oras sa mga karanasan sa pagkabata. Then, ang kinalabasan sa pagtanda ay lubos na pag-unlad ng teorya and life course. So, ang pag-aaral daw ay nina Thomas Nenike sa mga pagsasaliksik sa Poland ay nagtatanda na dagdag sa pag-unlad nito ginagamit ng modernong kriminolohiya ng teoryang ito. Ang pamamagitan ng pagsusuri ng mga salik na nagpapa-apekto sa kriminal sapagkat o ugali sa pagkabata, gabay ng magulang, pagdadalaga o mga ugnayan sa mga lipunan. Ang pagtanda ay pagkikilahok ng pamilya, ipinapakita na binabawasan ng malakas na ugnayan ng pamilya at lipunan ang posibilidad na maging kriminal o mga kriminal na gawain. Next topic of life and course theory, this attempt to explain why some individuals are more prone to crime than others and highlight the theory focuses on life experience and how negative factors at the young age can significantly influence the likelihood and the life of crime. The text that describes criticism of theory, questioning whether it offers new perspective simply reinterprets existing theories and significant study by Laob and Samson building. Then, Goek works and mission to study following participant over the long period examined of the influence. Then, the turning points of like marriage and employee, the criminal tragic story, their findings challenge the nation of the criminal as a constant suggestion of influence by life event. Sample ato, so ipinaliwanag ng teoryang life and course na posibilidad ng kriminal na pag-uugali na batay sa mga karanasan sa buhay o kanang kaagi na gidaan ba. So, binibigyan diin yung malakas na impluwensya ng mga negatibong karanasan na maagang pagbahagi ng buhay o kinu-question ng mga pagpuna ng pagka-orihinal nito na nagmumungkahi na maaari lamang nitong pagsamasamahin ng mga umiiral na teorya o ipinapakita ng mga longitudinal study ni Laob at Samson o ila duhang study ni Laob ug Samson na papalawakin na pagpananalisis ni Goek na ang mga pangunahing pangyayari sa buhay ay sama ng turning points ay lubos na nakakaapekto sa kriminal na pag-uugali na sumasalungat sa indiyan ng palaging kriminal. Another discussion about life and course theory to emphasize its key assumption is to highlight the theory view human behavior that's shaped by experience. So rather than solely by innate factors, it acknowledge the life unfold in a typical patterns of the social passage. Then, with individual adhering to the applied social contact, the importance of the social institution like families and school in the development of the stress, the text is addressing challenge by the key of components like parents are absent, particularly due to increase the child risk of the criminal behavior. So suggest that rehabilitation approach such a restitution might be a better solution than solely focusing on a punishment aiming to reintegrate the offenders back into society. Example, ang paggamit ng teoryang life and course theory ay nangangailangan ng pag-unawa sa mga pangunahing paglagay nito. Ang pag-uugali ng tao ay may impluwensyahan ng mga karanasan sa buhay at ang buhay ay sumusunod sa mga karaniwang pattern ng mga pagbabago sa lipunan. Ang mga institusyon na panilipunan like pamilya, paaralan ay nakakahalaga para sa pag-unlad ng kawalan ng magulang lalo na dahil sa pagkabilanggo ay lubos na nagpapataas sa mga panganib ng isang bata na makagawa ng kriminal na pag-uugali. Inumungkahi ng isang paaralan na rehabilitasyon na nakatuon sa muling pagsasama sa lipunan bilang isang mas epektibong solusyon kaysa sa mga parusang panimbang lamang. Thank you.